a survey that's been done by Premier Sport, the sense of insecurity that parents have about their children's lifestyle being healthy really has started to come to a fore. According to this survey, so many parents feel that they're actually healthier than their kids. It's hard.
This is what Premier Transitions programmes are trying to do. They're trying to help give that information to parents, because I think that's what parents are saying. Well, actually, we don't know. We haven't got time, we haven't got the money, and we haven't got the knowledge to make those changes. So we're saying through these programmes, through the schools, ask at your school, there is so many different ways that these courses can help them in giving that consistent health message, keeping them healthy, what they should be eating, what fluid they should be having, moving well and sleeping well.
Sally is on a mission, aren't you, Sally?
I am on a mission, yes. We're trying to get our kids to be healthy and just to have more knowledge about what they should be eating and about exercise. And we realise that parents as well, we all live very busy lives and sometimes can be expensive. But I think what parents are saying is that we want that knowledge. We want to know, what should our kids be eating from a young age? What sort of exercise should they be doing?
Because there's this new survey out which suggests that for the first time ever, parents live a healthier lifestyle than their kids, which is not a good thing.
It's not, and I think I'm probably one of those people, really, because I often think about what am I going to eat for breakfast, or when am I going to do my exercise, and sometimes you don't have time to think what exercise they're doing. Are they doing sport in school? Are they not? Which sometimes they're not doing anything. So I think it's parents saying, let's take responsibility, let's try and see if we can get our kids healthier and try and educate them, make it that way of life from an early age.
It doesn't have to take too much time, does it, to just get your children active, even just going out for walks or just a healthy diet. It's not that hard, is it?
I think what we've found with the study is that parents want to make those changes, but they're not quite sure how to bring it into their day, into the school life, into themselves. It's giving them that information, and through the programmes that Premier put together, they look at right from children's centres, nurseries, and what they should be eating at that sort of age. How do you incorporate an hour of exercise into your day? But how do you? And giving them that information to make those changes.
So how much of a lack of an awareness is there?
I think it's been quite interesting from the Premier Transition survey that they did, that most children across the UK are really missing out on the best start possible in life, because often that their parents don't have that time or money or knowledge to help them to lead that healthier lifestyle.
How important is it to see role models doing exercise to try and get into that exercise routine?
I think it's really important. I think often what's happened in the survey is that parents are saying they want to make those changes. They want to be more active themselves and install into their children, but they don't know how to. They want that information. So I think what we're trying to do with the launch of Premier Transition programmes is to try and give that information through schools, through early learning centres, that parents can take away with them and try and get an hour of exercise into themselves and into their children a day.
About half of parents in Scotland that were surveyed were doing nothing to keep their child active outside school. There does seem to be a kind of tendency, doesn't there, to think, oh, well, the school could be doing more.
I think it does. And yes, I'd like to see that the schools take on and realise how important teaching them around a healthy lifestyle is as part of the curriculum. I think that's really important. But also I think as parents, our children are probably half the year in school and half at home. So when you look at it like that, it's still, there's a lot of time that we spend with them and being more active with them and doing fun things. And what can that look like? And how do we bring that into a normal sort of day when it's dark and it's raining, and what can we come up with? And giving that knowledge to parents, I think, is really key.
Who is to blame here? Parents? Changing in lifestyle? What is it?
I think it's a difficult one. I think when you look at what the Premier Transition have put together in this survey, it's almost around parents want to make that change, but they haven't got that knowledge. Often they say they haven't got that knowledge, they haven't got that time, and it can be quite expensive, so it's the money really. So I think it's about trying to get through the myths and all those sorts of things, and to say to parents, it's creating that way of life from a young age. Yes, it's great that we lead healthier lifestyles, but we need our children to be watching what we do, to encourage them to lead those healthier lifestyles. And how do we do that? What can we put in place?
Just give us an outline of this programme then from the top.
Really what the programme is about is looking at how children really in the UK are missing out on the best possible start in life because either their parents don't have the time, money or knowledge to help them lead a healthier lifestyle. And what the programme's really looking at is finding ways through schools, whether that's very early age, through primary schools, secondary schools, of giving that information and really helping support parents and teachers and caterers within schools with a course around what they should be eating, what sort of exercise, just looking at that healthier lifestyle.
If you lead a healthy lifestyle yourself, it's probably quite easy then to impart that onto your kids.
But I think it's not just always down to schools, it's us as parents to sort of pass on what does healthy living look like. Parents want to make those changes in health, but they're not quite sure what the key messages are. It's finding that route, and that's really what Premier Transitions have done. They've found a route within school to really help the caterers, teachers and the parents with that knowledge, and that's, I think, is really key.
Just turning to the schools issue, what puts the Premier Transition programme, what sets that apart?
I think it's a number of ways. I think it's not just around food, it's around exercise as well. And we have specialists that go in and do different activities with them, working with the teachers to running these courses. They can bring hands-on information and educate them around healthy eating and what they're drinking and all those things, and moving well and all those things, and getting them joining in. We've got to look at different ways of really trying to get that into the curriculum and really support it so that that knowledge is in there from that young age. And that's what they're looking at, is 3 different age groups. So looking at that really preschool, that play area, making it fun for 5 to 11-year-olds, and then doing a fit one for parents and adults as well. So you're looking at all different areas.
Sally, there are some very interesting stats doing the rounds at the minute. What on earth is going on?
60% of parents admit they lead a healthier lifestyle than their children, and nearly half do nothing to keep their kids active outside of school. And Premier Transition have put together this survey, and it has been really interesting talking about it this morning, and it's quite scary really, but it's interesting that we sort of look after our own health more than we do our children. And I just sort of think with the obesity problems that we have and how much we have to encourage our kids and what a responsibility as parents, you want to teach them the right things. And I really believe that you're never too young to start getting those messages across to your kids.
What does this research show about education and healthy living?
Well, actually, down where you are, 48% of parents lead a healthier lifestyle than their children. So what we've been really trying to do with Premier Transition's new programme is to try and help parents to get that message across to their children. What does healthy lifestyle really mean?
It is through the schools, you say. They spend a lot of time there, and something like the Premier Transition programme can really help the school focus what they're doing as well.
It really does. It looks at the whole school approach by, looking at the caterers, the teachers, parents, friends and family, and getting those facts across around keeping healthy, eating well, drinking water, moving well and sleeping well. So it's trying to unite everybody, getting the specialists in, getting that information. It's going into schools and doing these courses and working with the schools to try and encourage that.
If there's parents, grandparents listening now who perhaps this has given them pause for thought but actually want to do something, where can we find out more about what we could do to improve the general health and activity levels of our children?
Yeah, so if people want to go to the website, which is premiertransition.co.uk, and you can look at their 6 to 12 week programmes which participate in schools and around schools, and just really encourage them to